Once again, welcome back to the plot. Okay, right, well, good afternoon everybody. As promised from last night when I was posting on the Facebook page, I promised you a wee walk around the plot. Well, I've managed to get up this afternoon just for an hour and a bit of fresh air. Not much to be done at the moment because it's far too cold, but I like to get up at least every day and a little wander around, make sure the doors and all that's secure. But it's sun shining, but it's absolutely Baltic. It's freezing here, so I'm not going to stand outside for too long. A little bit of damage behind us. That's what Storm Arwen done for Christmas before last, and of course all last year with us being poorly, never got round to getting it repaired. But it's held. And what we did, we put cargo netting on. The very fine mesh was strapped lengths of it from side to side over, and kept where the polythene had been split and ripped. At least this kept it down for the time being. I've got all sorts of bits of lat and bits of wood on trying to keep it down, but it's served its purpose for a year, and we're quite happy. Come April, we've been measuring up for the new polytunnel, the new cover I should say. We'll probably get that and send away for that at the back end of this month, which I'm quite happy. If I get it in April, hopefully by then the weather will change a lot, and me and Roger can plod on getting the new cover on. The peach tree here is just starting to come into flower. They've got some lovely buds on up there. You can see them. I'm just hoping that the frost will not get too deep into here. Of course, this is one of our big polytunnels. At the moment, it's full of cabbage, spring cabbage, which of course are first class crop this year again, as usual. We always get a great crop of cabbages, and as I say, every year we change the soil, rotate the crop I should say, from tomatoes to cabbage to sweet corn, cucumbers, and we do it every year. We rotate them all around. This is one of the new beds that were built a year ago, and of course this is full of new tatties at the moment. We've got new tatties in the bottom tunnel, and they're just starting to come through. We planted them mid-January. We planted the Swift, and we're like to get them out around about the end of June, which is fine for us. We'll get a lovely crop of early new potatoes, which lasts for all summer until our late crop are ready. And then we can, once them are out, we can get tomatoes in, we can get cucumbers, sweet corn, cabbages, anything we want. You know, it's they never go to waste. We've got the strawberries in the buckets here, which I never had time to really get much done to them last year. But we've still got loads of cuttings next door, which I'll show you when we go in there. We've got loads of cuttings, and I'm thinking about putting a few baskets together. I spent the best part of yesterday clearing this. Of course, this is a melon house. Yes, it's inside the polytunnel. It's a separate house. We normally grow our melons on the benches here, but prior to that we set a load of seed away, and I've got all the trays not ready, all cloth, papered. As I say, I'm a great believer in watering from down below. So all my trays, they've got a nice thick layer of newspaper on the bottom. So when I water the trays, they just act like a sponge. And of course, all the seedling trays are sitting on top of here, and they all get watered nice and evenly all the way through. But all them trays are up ready for the young seedlings coming up, or the cuttings, whatever I've taken. I've got the 6 trays of marigolds that I planted a fortnight ago there in here, and it's there's no heating on whatsoever in here. It's about 3 or 4 degrees warmer than what it is in the polytunnel. Bearing in mind there's a big split running right through the polytunnel and a couple of holes either side, so temperature can drop down there a bit. But yeah, it's nice and comfortable to work in here, and even when it's blowing a gale outside, I can spend a good few hours just cleaning up and getting everything ready. Here's one of our lemon trees there. It's still survived. So hopefully we'll may get some fruit off that this year. This is in its 3rd year now, so we'll see. As I say, all the benches are full of trays now already. We'll probably start to pot off the end of this month. By then, hopefully, we'll have a new cover. What I've got to do is to put a new cover on this on the melon house, but we'll do that once we take the old cover off. And we'll put a new cover on there, then we'll put the whole polytunnel. We'll probably do a video on that day, show you how we'll get on. But all the floors have been chipped, they're all brand new. One of my friends in Spring Gardens brought us 20 bags of chipping, so we're over the moon with that. All the pathways have been done. Well, the bottom tunnel here, this is finished. It's absolutely great for working in here. We've got the new cover on here last summer. It's absolutely marvellous. And of course we've got a load of plants in here overwintering. People keep posting about buying seed and whatnot. I'm a great believer, and if you've got a big garden and you want to grow some plants cheaply, and there's nothing better than the old perennials. And of course, yeah, the polyanthus. These are just autumn sown, the seed. Absolutely first class little plants, and it's so easy to grow them. There's Bella's Daisy, another easy one, and of course the old favourite, the pansies. Plenty of pansies there. Now we'll be planting a load of these out soon in my back garden. Once I get that finished, I'm busy putting a bit of decking down at the moment, but I'm just taking my time with that. And once I've got that done, I'll start doing a little bit of planting out. But for seed, a packet of seed is so cheap. I mean, these, the polyanthus, I was looking at them in the shops, and they were selling for 99p each. When you get a packet of polyanthus seed, you get about 30 or 40 seed in a packet, a decent packet. And if you just take your time, sow them properly, good compost, right conditions. Autumn's great for sowing perennials. I love doing it. I sow all sorts, foxgloves, all of that sort of stuff round about early August time. Sow them, and as they come through into little plugs, you can put them off into trays, and you can overwinter them in the greenhouse. And the cold greenhouse, because there's no heat whatsoever in here. I've got strawberry cuttings over there sitting that we took last year. I've got strawberries up here, which I haven't done anything with. But as I say, as the seedlings go, polyanthus and primulas, pansies, are so easy to grow. Sweet William, there's a tray full of Sweet William there. They were just grown from seed, and they'll go in. And of course, but they've been biennial, they'll flower this year. As I say, they're autumn sown. Once they get a decent size, put them off. There's the strawberries, little rooted cuttings of strawberries. We've got about 30 of them there, 40 of them. I'll decide what I'm going to do with them later on. I might put them in a basket if I'm feeling up right within the next couple of weeks. I get a bit of strength back. I've got a load of baskets at the bottom, so I might make a big mix up and put them all in the baskets and hang the baskets up. We'll see. These are denticulata, and these are the drumstick primula. These were all sown exactly the same time as what the other ones were, and they're just rumping away. Lovely little plants, and they'll be first class for spring. What do we class as spring? Early March. Well, not up here in the northeast we don't. It's been absolutely Baltic. Mine we've been lucky, we haven't had as much snow as what you have had in Wales, Scotland, even in north of England, Gateshead up that way, up on the hills, Pennines and that. They've had a really hammering with snow. A lot of the motorways were shut down, but down here, northeast, we're so near the coast, we're really lucky. We get a lot of salt air blown in, so I think that's got a really big effect on the temperatures, and of course the amount of snowfall we get. So in one way we're lucky. We keep saying it's proper miserable up here when it's damp and wet and cold, but we've been lucky. We haven't had as much snow as what the rest of the country have. So keep your fingers crossed. Roger comes up first thing in the morning, and what we'll do is we've got a brush down here, and we'll knock a polytunnel roofs, because we'll get too much of a snowfall, big heavy one, they can't sink in. So you've got to be very careful with that. Although we've got framework in between, which is a good support, I still don't like a big heavy lift of snow on the polytunnel itself, where you can stretch it and crush it down. So what we like to do first thing in the morning, come up with a brush, give it a good whacking, and of course if the sun's on it, it'll just slide off. But that's great. Now in here, in this tunnel here, we've got 3 rows of swift, early potatoes, and they've just started coming through over the far side. There's a couple just starting to poke their nose up. As I say, they were planted mid-January, so we'll probably have them out. They'll be up and around about the middle to the end of June, which is perfect for us, because then any late tomatoes that want in, any cucumbers, any sweet corn, you know, there's aubergines, there's loads of stuff we can plant here. I'm thinking about putting a full row of beans and peas down that back end this year. Once the tatties come out, I'll put canes all the way down, because this is east facing this back end here, so we'll get the sun rising in the south all the way around over to the west, so the sun will be on that all day and it'll not cast any shadow over any plants that's in front of it. So we'll nice row of beans, nice row of peas. Doesn't take up too much room, but they're fantastic. I'll probably pop them in. As far as sowing goes, there's been a few posts online about sowing seeds and that. Really leggy, really pale looking, and the secret of seed sowing really is light. Not so much heat, but light. When I sow my peppers and that down home, which I'll show you when we get down there, when I sow my peppers and that, I only have a little bit of bottom heat on them. I don't have much heat on. I always recommend around about 50-55. It's quite enough. If you want to start them off in the kitchen, that's fine, but just make sure they get that light, because once you start coming through, and if there's too much heat, they'll end up with real leggy plants, and that's what you do want. You want small, little small, nice green shoots to pot off. You don't want anything too leggy. You can do it with cabbages and collies. I'll show you mine up here. And what you can do is you can transplant them deeper into the pots than where you took them out from. So you take away all that stem, sink them right down to the bottom, and it just takes away the legginess of them. But when I'm sowing any tomatoes, anything like that, I never want them too large. If you're sowing them in the kitchen, and you've got to think about where you're going to put them after you take them off the kitchen windowsill. You're going to need a little bit of heat in the greenhouse. No good bringing them from a warm place into a cold greenhouse and expecting them to grow, because you'll shock them, and of course you'll get them setting back. If I can take this top off here without disturbing it too much. Now, I only sowed these a fortnight ago, and there's no heat whatsoever in here. Just a cold greenhouse under a propagator, and there's our sprouts, absolutely first class. Now they're ready for a potting off, and that's the way I like to pot mine off. They're small, they're dwarf, they're really nice and strong, green looking, and that's where I like to pot mine off. Now I'll be potting mine off into cups, into these cups here. I'm going to knock a few holes in the bottom, give them a good soaking, cardboard cups, and then they'll be fine for transplanting. Now we've got cabbage there, calibos, we've got greyhound cabbage, we've got calabrese, we've got about 3 or 4 different kinds of cabbage, but I'm not in any hurry to move them on. As I say, the sprouts, I'll probably get the sprouts done next week. We've got plenty of mix made up. We've got about 14 bags down in the bottom tunnel already mixed up. We've got 3-2-1 mix. We've got a big cement mixer down there, and that's where we like to make our mixers up in there. So we've got plenty of potting mix. So maybe in the next fortnight I'll start potting off the sprouts. I'll show you how to go on with them, and then hopefully there might be some bedding to come up. I'll show you the bedding when we finish this video off down home, and I'll show you how I like to sow mine, because we've still got a couple of rows of messing brine to sow, some Livingston daisy. I'm going to pop them in today, so we'll take them down home. We've got umpteen packets of seed that we have sown over the last couple of weeks. Bearing in mind that there's really not much heat on down home. I've only got that little heat bed, and it's only keeping the temperature up to 50, 55 when the sun's on it, and of course through the night it's dropping down to 40, 45. But I have got the covers over them, so they're frost free. But anything that is growing, it's growing slowly. It's not getting pushed up, it's not getting forced up. I just like to take its time, just grow away nice and slow, and that way you'll get a first class plant. So I'll give you a little walk around, showing you what we've been up to. Hopefully within the next few weeks, as I say, we'll get that polytunnel repaired, get a new cover on there, get it sent away for, and get a new cover on. We'll get the melon house all ready, and then by then we should have plants ready to prick off and start potting off, and they'll go into there. No heat whatsoever, just in the trays inside the melon house. They'll sit in there, they'll be quite happy. Even on the coldest nights, I don't think it'll drop down below 40 degrees in there, because you're double sheltered, so we're quite happy. Even in this greenhouse in here, the vent's open. It's got an automatic vent in here, and that's opened itself, so it's telling you it's over 60 degrees in here today, just with that little bit of sunshine. But don't be misled by all means, because of an evening your temperatures can drop right down, so just be wary. And I'm a great believer in these little plastic containers, little tops. You can get them anyway, pick them up. You can get cake containers. I've got some down here that were off sandwich trays last year. One of my neighbours had a few trays of sandwiches, and she asked us if I needed them. Absolutely fantastic. They're great for covering over your trays. And that puts a couple of degrees on your seed trays, on your compost, just keeping it nice and warm. But there's still loads of time to start sowing. I've made one sowing of tomatoes, like I showed you in the last video. My marigolds are in, because I need plenty of marigolds to go in between all the greenhouses, all the polytunnels. They'll all get a good whack of marigolds right through. And of course the scent of that keeps away the white fly and helps with a green fly. Or you can make a spray up. You can put marigolds in water, a bit of warm water, and make a spray up and spray your plants with that if you don't want to put plants in there. Just the same, exactly the same outcome. But I'm a great believer in it, as I say, with organics. So we're cracking on. We're getting everything ready, getting all the greenhouses ready, ready for for next month, because next month's going to be really busy. And what we've got to put out here, we've got the onions to go in, and we've got new main crop potatoes. Traditionally, St. Paddy's Day, I normally wait until Easter, but I was a little bit hesitant this year, and I had them. They turned up, so I thought, bang them in. They're in the ground now, but no problem. They're not get damaged. Just that little bit of snow I've had on the top, that's nothing. But the tatties are in, and what I've grew this year, I wanted to go back to trying a nice red tatty, so I've put in Sarple Myra, and there's 4 rows of Sarple Myra in, and they should start coming through within the next few weeks. But hopefully by then we'll be shut of all the snow and cold weather. It takes winter April, and April's usually a nice month, hopefully. But we've got loads to do. We've got lettuce and that to sow. So we'll go down home now, and I'll finish the video off down there. I'll show you some of my seedlings, and I'll explain exactly what I've been going on about. Not too much heat. Don't force anything up. If you've got to grow them at home, by all means, if you're putting them on a windsill, just make sure you do a quarter turn with your pots every day, and that way they don't grow towards the light. They'll keep it nice and straight. And if you think they're getting a bit leggy, try and chill them off a little bit. Even if you've got to open a window, let a bit fresh air, and just trying to keep that coolness down. When they're too hot, and they'll just romp away, and that's when you get the legginess in them. So what you want nice small little plants. I'll explain all that when we get back down home, and I'll finish the video off down there. I say, so for the time being, from the plot, see you all again soon. Okay, right, couldn't make it up. 5 minutes from the allotment, walking from there down home, and it's blowing a hoolie, and hailstones are coming down like little marbles. But hey, that's a northeast for you. But it's starting to lie a little bit, but I'm getting down here. I'm in my own greenhouse now at home, so I'm over the moon. I'm going to straighten that up a little bit. You can see my heat bed. As I say, I showed you last week, that's my little heat bed. It's very little power, but in here it's 60 degrees. That's a little heat bed, and of course the sunshine over in the west there now, had a little bit of sunshine this afternoon. That raises the temperature, but for me 50 degrees is ideal. 50, 55, I'm quite happy with that. I never like to force anything up. I've got peppers in here, they're not shown yet, they've only been planted a fortnight. Peppers can take 3-4 weeks before they'll decide to pop themselves up. But like you say, if you force them too much, you'll end up with a poor plant, and by the time you come to prick them off, you know they'll struggle and struggle. So nice and slowly. I'll show you a couple of things over here. Now, broadcasting rutabaga, absolutely fantastic. Full tray full of them there, and they're growing away quite nicely. There's one or two little weeds popping up amongst them. As I explained, this is my own compost. So what you will get growing is a few weeds amongst it, but not many. You'll get the odd ones coming through, little blades of grass and that, and you can keep picking them out and picking them out. And oh, I can feel a warmth on there on the bottom there, absolutely marvellous. So, and as I say, by the end of this month in April, we'll have the top, the first polytunnel recovered, the melon house recovered. So what we'll be doing, we'll be potting these off into their trays, and they'll be quite happy to go up there and just sit in the coolness of the melon house, where temperatures can, you know, fluctuate around about the 45 to 50 mark, depending on sunshine and how cold it gets of the night time. But they'll be fine. They'll not get rushed. Just take our time, nice and slowly. Perennials, as I say, quite easy to grow. There's 2 packets of seed in there, 2 packets of rutabaga, and I broadcast them. As I say, I'll let them get up to a nice size before I put them off into their trays and separate pots, because I grow them for a lot of different people. The dahlias are just starting to bud. There's a few dahlias on the back here, a few trays of dahlias. They're just starting to bud up now, so I'll be taking cuttings off them around about mid-March, mid-April time, which is fine. Mid-April, by the time they root, and they'll be ready for planting out. And we don't plant ours out until end of June, beginning of July up here in the north, because dahlias are so fickle. Right, now this is another method of sowing. I will show you next week. I'll sow some seed, but this is one of my favourite ways of sowing seed. Now this is Crystal Palace lobelia. So easy to grow, just a little bit of heat, not too much. And what I like to do with this, I like to use a multi-purpose compost, handful of sharp sand and a handful of perlite, really free draining. As I like to say, these sit in a tray, and I water the tray on the bottom of the tray, so I water up over. The only time they get any water above on the top is when I go up tonight. I'll make up another spray. I'll take my spray upstairs, and I'll make 2 litres of chamomile tea up, and that's the only time. Every now and again I'll give them a spray across the top. You can see the seeds there rumping through, and these have only been in a fortnight. Now they'll be fantastic for planting out or for potting off the first week in April or second week in April. And what I like to do, I like to go along the rows and just tease them out in little bunches and replant them into our trays. I did have some somewhere, some 9-inch ones, there they are there, some 9-inch multi-pots that I plant into. I like planting my lobelia into them. They'll be great for around about the end of May, beginning of June, for planting up in the garden, your hanging baskets, anything. Now the way I like to do these, it's not multi-sowing like I did with the rutabaga. With the lobelia, planting in a multi-purpose compost and sharp sand and perlite, it just makes it a nice free draining mixture, but you'll get no weeds whatsoever. You shouldn't get any weeds, depending on the quality of your compost. I like to make a good compost. I like to use a good clover compost, not a professional, just a multi, and I mix that with my own when I do my 3-2-1, or I mix it with sharp sand and perlite, just so it's weed free. And all you have to do then is just make sure your compost nice and level. Give it a good soaking first, pre-drain it, pre-soak it, and then I get a short bit of cane or a pencil and press it in, so you've got 3 hollows or 3 rows pressed into the compost. Glasses on, go along with the seed, divide your packet up into 3 rows, and then I cover them rows with a little bit of perlite, and there we are. There's the seeds rumping through there now. And all I've got over these is a plastic cover. Fantastic. I've got 2 trayfuls of lobelia there. One's Crystal Palace and one's Sapphire Trailing. Sapphire Trailing for your baskets, Crystal Palace for outside. And out of a tray full of that, you'll probably get 10 trays of multi-sown out of each tray of seedlings. So that's quite a lot of lobelia out of one packet. So it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile growing them, as I say. As the cover back on them. Here's our pot leeks. Now the pot leeks are sitting here. They're not actually on the heat bed. They're just sitting on the bench on the side here, and they're quite comfortable in here. Temperatures of say between 40 and 50, and I'll not need them till end of May, beginning of June. We're planting up in the garden, so they're growing away really well. I've got a position up in the garden for planting these out. I'm going to put these with the sprouts. So what we're going, the bed's already been mucked. It's been levelled out, been mucked and limed, good liming. And what we've done, we've covered it with black polythene. As I say, we'll not need it till around about the end of May, June time. So we'll cover it with black polythene. It'll just keep the weeds down. And by the time these are ready to go in, we'll pull the polythene off, and we'll just plant them straight in. 2 rows of nice sprouts, which I've got up there. I'll be putting them off next weekend. So on next weekend's video, I'll put them off, which takes you to the middle of March, and they'll sit in their pots. I'll explain all this later on. They'll sit in their pots for about 6 weeks. Well, you might think that's a little bit long, but I want them really rock solid, root bound in them pots, and I'll explain all that later on. Because if you've got problems in your soil, eelworm, stuff like that, clubroot especially, we like to do a couple of preparations with our plants for planting out, so we don't get any damage to them. But I'll explain all that later on at a later date. That's our pot leeks, and they're just ticking over nice and slowly. Quite happy with that. As I say, I've got a few dahlias. That's another one my sister brought just last week, and already this has only been in the pot for a week, and already it's budding up there. So it's warm enough in here for your dahlias. I'll probably get about half a dozen cuttings off there, one tuber, and then the tuber can go into the garden. So you know, you're saving yourself a few bob each time. I've got asters, I've got anthuriums in there, I've got dahlias. I've got just planted a dahlia seed, and I've just planted quite a few of the bedding plants over this end here, which are all romping through. There's another tray full there, and I've taken these from under the cover. As I say, I had them under the cover, but I've taken them off. This is the Cape Daisy, Otospermum, a lovely little flower, lovely plant. I had them under the cover. I've taken them off the cover now, and what we'll do with these, I'll put these off next week, and we'll do the same with these. What we'll do with cabbage, we'll probably plant them up in a single pots, but what we'll do, we'll sink them right down to the first set of leaves there in the pot, and that just takes away the legginess of them. Why I took the cover off is because, as I say, you don't like to get them too long, and then once again you can go through. There's a couple of weeds there growing through there. You can just pull them out. And then once we pot them off, let them grow, and you'll get a first class plant. You'll get moved up the garden in about 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time, and they'll stand any amount of coldness what you throw at them. You know, as long as they're not frosted, as long as they're well protected under the cover, and they'll just grow away quite nicely, and you get a first class plant for planting out in May. So it's quite simple. In fact, I'm going to take them off the heat bed tomorrow, and I'll just put them on the shelf here, on the bench here, so they've got no heat whatsoever, and they'll just harden up. I've got lettuce to sow today, so I'm going to sow them. I'll do them broadcast just in small trays, small green trays, and with lettuce you can sow as many or as few as you want. I'll sow a couple of dozen in there, and that'll be it. That's for first sowing of lettuce. I'll get them in quite easy, and then everything else, well, tickety-boo. I'm pleased with things are going. I see I'm starting to get a little bit stronger day by day, so I'm managing to do a little bit more every time I go up the plot. At the moment it's nice and clean. All the beds are ready, as I explained. All we're waiting for now is the plants, and of course the weather. But don't be in too much of a hurry to sow if you haven't got the amenities. Like I say, just a little bit of heat. If you want to sow in the house, by all means do, but just take really good care. You can sow in small pots on the windowsill, nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you turn your pots daily. The small 9cm pot's great for sowing a few tomatoes in, like I have in here. I've sowed them in there, but they're not through yet. But they'll not be long. They'll be popping their heads through in a couple of days' time. If you're sowing on a windowsill, by all means, but just make sure they're on a saucer and turn your pot every day. Once they come through, turn your pot every day. And just don't have too much heat on, especially if they're in the kitchen. You've got your implements going there, like say your cooker nut, and your place will be red hot, and that's what will happen with them. They'll romp away. And some of these propagators are far too hot for them, and you've just got to watch them. Once they start coming through, we've got to just you vent tops and that to open them up, let some of the temperature drop down a bit. If they overheat, and you will get a leggy plant. That's what you've got to try and avoid at all times. You don't want them leggy, you want them nice and small, strong, green, and you'll get a much better plant. But we'll show you all that in the next few weeks, how we do ours and how we keep on growing and how we keep on top of any pests or diseases. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to nip upstairs before tea, get me chamomile tea made, and then I'll come down. I'll probably spray these in light, just give them a light spraying over the top of them. I'll spray chamomile right through the seedling stage until I pot it off, and then after that they're fine. Pigeons are flying around all over. I've got squirrels in the garden now at the back of us. I've got in the private land at the back of us. Squirrels are all over the trees. I'm not holding too much hope for the grapevine. If you remember the grapevine we planted last year, I think the squirrels will be at them first, so I might have to net them or try and find a way of putting some sort of a cage around them. We love the squirrels, we love seeing them in the antics, but I don't want them eating all our grapes before we get a chance at having a few of them. But we'll see that later on. I'll try and catch them sometime on the garden, and I'll post a pic of them. But for the time being, I'm going to knock off. Hopefully next video we'll start and do a little bit of sowing together, and we'll might even have time for a little bit of potting off. But we'll keep you updated week by week. If you can't wait for the video, you can catch me on my Facebook page. It's Jeff Foreman on the Plot. Send me a friend's request, and we'll sign you up, and we can talk to you any night you want through the week. If you want to ask questions or you've got a query about anything, and if we cannot, I'm sure there's plenty of other like-minded guys on our site which will help you out. Okay, so don't forget, Jeff Foreman on the Plot, and we'll see you all next week. Okay, bye for now.